this week. We'll wait for more information when that happens.
Yes.
In the meantime, there's the story surrounding this technology employee on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
That worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Apparently was going to board an airline and fly back to Pakistan, and he was arrested. Ron DeSantis is a congressman from Florida.
Right.
He is hot on this story. Earlier today, he said this about what's happening on an investigative front.
There's going to obviously be financial crimes here that'll be prosecuted criminally. I think that's just window dressing. I think what was he doing with these money? He's got connections to a Hezbollah-linked character in Iraq. He's sending money to Pakistan. I think there's going to be more than just the financial crimes on its face. But in the House of Representatives, we have to investigate how our systems may have been compromised, and that will require putting people in the chair.
Well, see, he said a whole lot in that answer. Let's go ahead and back up a little bit and tell us where this story is now.
Well, the story, I got to tell you where this story started and how it got to where it is now. Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, while she was a congresswoman from Florida and the chair of the Democratic National Committee, employed at government expense in her Washington office an IT specialist who, it turns out, was gathering information and selling it to foreign nationals and foreign intelligence services. This, of course, is a felony. As he was selling real estate in the United States and was attempting to flee to Pakistan, he was arrested for a failure to report these financial sales. What Congressman DeSantis is saying, the financial stuff is bad, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. What we really need to know is how did this person damage the national security of the United States by selling information from the Wasserman Schultz emails to foreign nationals, and what did he sell? And then, and this is very intriguing, Bill, what did the former chair of the Democratic National Committee and Congresswoman from Florida know, if anything, about him and about it?
Well, the FBI would be charged with finding those answers.
Yes,
correct.
I would think that, and I'm dying to hear Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz answer Congressman DeSantis's questions. I don't think it's going to happen. I think she is a witness in the criminal prosecution of her former employee, and the FBI probably doesn't want her testifying about it until after that trial is over.
Last point, just come back to this. DeSantis says, how were our systems compromised?
That's the question that, listen, Congress can ask this of Mrs. Wasserman Schultz in an ethics investigation of her, which is done in private, where she won't have to be telling the public what she knows about the employee. But I think that Congressman DeSantis is right. He's got his hands on the tip of the iceberg. He doesn't know how big that iceberg is or how deep it goes.
Meaning there could be others who were taking information, either selling it,
yes,
or compromising the private work of members of Congress. That's a big deal.
Correct. We also don't know exactly what was sold and to whom it was sold, and whether or not it contained classified materials.
Well, meaning that any state actor or bad player could be involved in trial. They would have a financial and political incentive to get that information.
Correct. So look for an indictment soon to see if the government can flip this fellow. That is, in return for a lesser sentence than the one he would normally get, can he tell who else knew about this? Did any members of Congress know about it? Who were the foreign agents to whom this was sold, and what did they get?
Very interesting. And this may not be specific to this case, but try and answer it. Imran Awan is his name, right? He did not get out of the country. How is it that the feds move at the last possible moment to pull him off an airplane or prevent him from getting on an airplane?
I would imagine that his name came up on a TSA list, and they literally ran to an airport before the flight took off, because once the flight took off, there's not much they can do. So this does happen at the last minute. And fortunately,
they're trying to close loops while he's still in the country, and they've been tracking him for some time.
I'm going to guess that he knew that they were on his case, because he was in the midst of trying to sell real estate when he decided it was better for him to get to Pakistan than to collect the money on the real estate. Now he'll have neither.